Never really videoed this thing. I figure I probably need to. I bought this truck in 2001 from a good buddy of mine. It was bone stock with like 110,000 miles on it. It was a great truck. TBI 350, had split duals, no muffler, just cats. Kind of looked like it does now with stock wheels and stock mirrors. Drove this thing all through my early career at Caterpillar. I drove it to tech center about every stinking day, and I put right about 90,000 miles on the thing. The motor laid down somewhere in between there. We rebuilt it, and I think the motor might have been a touch strong for the trans. It never was quite happy, but it went as long as you didn't push it. I quit pulling the trailer with it at that point. It was around that time I sold it to, not long after we got married, I sold it to another buddy, and he had it for 7 or 8 years, and he put the body lift on it and a different set of wheels and tires. He had a set of 305 Baja Claws on similar rims, and he drove it back and forth to work a little bit, mostly just had it to play in the snow. Transmission laid down. He calls me up and says, "Hey, I'm gonna sell the old 94. Well, it just so happened we were thinking about buying another truck, so I bought it back, and sure enough, a can of Trans-X did not make the transmission happy. Lasted a little while, but it got to the point where I could put it in reverse, get out, scrape the windows, get back in, and it was about ready to move. So I knew it was time for it to go. So 10 years ago, I decided that it was time to LS this thing. I went and called my local junkyard. They had an 05 pull out. 05 Silverado 5.3 4L65. Ended up being the L33 from a Z71. So that's the all aluminum block for those that don't know that. It's kind of a mess. So we moved and built this house in 2011. I bought this thing back and swapped everything in early 2011. So in my old house, I had just a small garage, and buddy and I knocked the front core support off, left the hood, pulled the 350 and the old 4L60E out, slid this one in. We rough and tumble wired it, as you can tell, left the covers off. It worked, it functioned, the cruise control worked, the speedometer, everything worked right out of the gate. And that's how it's been ever since. We've driven it. We used it while we moved. I've used it to go everywhere. We've driven this thing a ton. I started driving it to work again. 2018, we realized we just didn't have room for everybody to ride in it, and I parked it. I parked it with the anticipation of my oldest. He was born in 07, so he's coming up on that high school years right now. And the anticipation was to keep it for him. So since then, he started wheel and tire shopping, and I gotta tell you, I'm really happy with what he picked. He picked an old classic Pro Comp wheel and a big old set of 315 75 16s. Now, it still sits with the body lift on it. I'm not happy about that. I'm not gonna turn it over to a 16-year-old with a body lift on it. We're gonna put a BDS 6-inch suspension lift on it, full springs, not blocks in the back. So that'll probably be another one we do a video on. As we started kind of assessing it, it's been sitting in my shed, so it's not like it's sit out in the weather. But as I feel around, feeling in your water channels here where your water can leak out, got little spots of rust going on. If I get down underneath, yeah, it's got those lips in the way you can't see real well, but all the rails that run across the bed are getting rusty. This truck's in primo shape for being an Illinois truck. I changed this back when I did the engine swap, so that cab corner has been replaced. The rocker's fine, bottom of the door's fine. Strangely, this fender is not fine. So got a new LMC fender for this side. And this fender seems to be just fine. No problem there. This door is nice and solid. This cab corner is still the factory cab corner. I need to cut it out, replace it, touch up this area here to make sure the rust stops while we have it apart. It's going clear up in here, so I may have to blend up all the way up into here. I don't know, we'll see. I really like to cut them right behind his trim. That makes a nice spot to hide when you put this trim back on, just in case you're not an awesome body guy. I'm not. The interior is just a little dusty, but it's all here. The seat's out of a junkyard 98, I think I picked up to put in it. But she's showing 209,000 miles now. Quite a few miles, but it's gonna serve the boy nice. I mean, it really is. We plan on going through and we're gonna redo the headliner. We're gonna take the carpet out and shampoo it, which I've done that a couple of times. So carpet's holding up good. Door panels are in great shape. We're gonna try to just clean on everything best we can. I had this thing painted early 2000s. Paint's not holding up, so it was time to paint it anyways. But that's the old 94 1500. I have a parts truck with a rust-free bed and a lot of good interior pieces. It's got a Z71 tack dash in it, so we're gonna set this thing up nice. Gonna be a really nice truck for Wyatt when he gets his license here in a couple years. But yep, I'm sure we'll be making more videos of this thing. Thanks. Catch you guys later.